Good Wednesday morning, Carstensen Team Remax episode 6 on what's happening in real estate in Minnesota. There's Michelle. Stacy will be on. She's just getting dressed. No, she's just getting her computer in the right position. So it's all good. Steve Dillner with Supreme Mortgage and Lending will be joining us in a few minutes to answer your lending questions. And we will still do a gift card giveaway. We've been doing this at 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights. This is the first time we did a Wednesday morning episode, and you can always listen to the recording on the Real Life Impact podcast or on our Facebook feed. And now I'm also streaming it live right to YouTube as well. So if you like YouTube better, I guess you could find us there right now and switch. So comments, questions, all that stuff will be good. Michelle, how about you say hi first to our fans, friends, and people finding us?
Hi all! That was it.
That was it. All right, Stacy, there you are. We got half of you, Stacy.
I got it now.
Better now.
There we go. It's a learning curve, apparently. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing well. We're going to try out a Wednesday, like Chuck said during the day, to see how that goes.
All right. So it's real estate's picking up. It seems to be getting busier with buyer activity. You're always welcome to post your comments, say hi for sure. Ask us questions if you have financing questions. Steve Dillner, Supreme Lending coming on soon. And then real estate questions wise, we'll let you know what's happening. Somebody's starting a watch party in the background, which is good. We'll get more people watching. And
I'm trying to figure it out.
Stacy, you got a lot going on now. Why don't you give your update or insight on what is happening lately in real estate?
You know, it's been pretty busy, actually. Last weekend, it kind of really took off for me. I actually wrote 5 offers between Friday and Monday for clients, and sellers got offers as well. So it's really starting to pick up. Unfortunately, a couple of those offers that my buyers and I wrote did not get accepted because it was multiple offers. So homes are definitely getting into multiple offers now. So that's something to consider when you are looking at homes and wanting, maybe a little bit hesitant on doing it or not. Homes aren't lasting as long as they were maybe a month and a half ago on the market. So definitely get out there. Let us know when you're ready to go see homes and everything like that. Between the 3 of us, we all have a pretty flexible schedule. If Michelle's busy with clients and you want to get to a house and she can't help you, that's where Chuck and I come in and play a role and help out, and vice versa. So never feel like you can't ask to go see a house on a weekend or evening or anything like that. So if one of us is busy, chances are the other person can help you out.
Very true. In fact, I was on vacation last week when we were on our live call, and Stacey helped me with a client, and she helped me with a client, and then she went and sold 4 houses or 3 or whatever. It's like good karma. So
yeah, there you go. I like it. Yeah. So maybe you should help me this weekend, and then you'll get 4.
Yeah. Good. I'll probably do that. I'll help you, and then I'll get 4 sales. But yeah, I mean, the real estate market is definitely
there. You go.
Like Stacy said, I've got a bunch of appointments this week. I just signed another listing, so definitely got houses coming on the market. They did say there was like over 300 still withheld on the MLS just for Remax results alone. So that's a little crazy.
We need the inventory. Obviously, we've been talking every week. It's low inventory, great interest rates, and people might be thinking, if you're just tuning in or thinking things were going to change in real estate because COVID slowed down a lot of businesses. You're like, gosh, I'm going to wait till the prices drop. They've actually increased year over year. They're definitely increased, and it's not slowing down. This summer should be pretty busy. I mean, maybe November and December it's going to lighten up, and if you don't need to buy right now and want to save a few bucks, you could wait to then. But we don't know if the interest rates would be a little higher, and then the payment would balance anyway. So
November and December it's going to lighten up.
Michelle again is starting her watch party. So
I just tried to look the comments, and I don't know how to do it. I forgot.
You got to just turn your volume down on your phone.
I did it.
Okay, good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So the funny thing is, I did that last week, and we're still learning. So, and that's part of the live broadcast. There's anything can happen. Stacy could be getting dressed 1 minute before the show, and I have to take her off camera.
Yep.
I'm totally teasing you, Stacy.
I know. It's funny. I didn't even hear you because my earphones were out because I was trying to adjust. So you're lucky.
Yeah,
I
she's
don't know,
like
about 30 seconds before I started, I thought it was like she threw her computer against the wall because it was like this big noise, and I was like, what the heck?
So funny. No,
yeah.
not
So
me.
before Steve Dalenar joins us again, reminder to comment, and when you comment or like it, we want some likes, we want some loves. Ask a question. When you do that, you get entered into a gift card drawing. It'll be Applebee's again today. I bought a bunch of Applebee's cards. Anybody go to Applebee's like in the winter when you buy $50 and get a $10 free? I bought literally hundreds of dollars of cards, so that's why I keep giving away Applebee's cards.
So you're giving away all the free ones, or
no? The free ones you got to use by March 3rd, the $10 ones, and I found one that I didn't use. So I was very disappointed, but I used the other
ones. They'll still let you use it. You never know. I doubt it. But
yeah, because a lot of them weren't open, so that's true.
Well, they were curbside open, and we used them that way. But you're right. Maybe I could say, hey, I send you people every week by talking about Applebee's. So can you?
Yeah, I bet they'll honor it. All you gotta do is ask.
Just gotta ask.
If somebody works at Applebee's out there, let us know, and we'll come see you. All right. So a couple of things I wanted to interject before Steve gets on are things maybe buyers and sellers that we run into, or would-be buyers and sellers we run into. You know, not everybody knows everything about real estate. That's why you get a real estate agent. And sometimes where there's still misconceptions, things buyers think will work that won't work, things sellers think that will work that won't work. And Stacy, Michelle, and I, why don't we kind of round robin just one or two things that you're running into that, you know, is making it more challenging for maybe our sellers or future sellers or our buyers or future buyers that we want to share with the people out there listening, whether it's the recording or podcast, so they can be better prepared for buying a house. And I think the one thing that we run into a lot, this is always, is people wanting to look at properties not pre-approved, that they're not going to buy just for fun. And years of real estate, yes, you know, realtors ask for pre-approval. Some buyers are like, well, I don't want to get a pre-approval if I like it. COVID-19 is still going on, even that none of us here are one of these lock us inside type of people. And we're not people that watch the news or any of that stuff. And the reason why we don't watch it is protect our mindset. Not, you know, we can find the news in 5 seconds online and make our decisions from there. But there's still people, like I had somebody last week that wanted to take 90 minutes at a property on a Sunday when I had other people to work with that wasn't going to buy it. They could be approved for like $400,000. The property is $574,000. And I very kindly said, okay, I got other people to work with that are ready to go. And I'd be taking either 90 minutes from them or from my family. So I'm going to decline a showing. And I let them know most sellers don't want non-approved people in there. And they're like, I'll get another realtor. But like, just so you know, people out there doing that, like I get it if you're going to buy soon and you think you can buy the house. But if you're just doing that, that's dumb. Okay. Straight up. That's not smart, not nice, and not kind. So I'm going to be unkind.
Especially with COVID going on, you're just bringing your family in there, which you probably have germs, and you're not even going to buy the house. Like, yeah, that's another reason why we're not going to show you it. I mean, I think we ran into that a couple times now this month already, or they have a realtor and they're like, "Can you just show it to us?" And if we don't ask that question up front, then we waste our time showing it to them because they think just because their realtor's gone, because they don't have a team of realtors that will just band up to like help them, that we'll just go out and show them because we're a realtor and we have nothing better to do.
And a nicer way of saying it, and every once in a while I like to be direct, a nicer way of saying what Michelle's saying, she didn't even say it that nicely, is if you have a realtor, just ask your realtor to show the house. And if you didn't have a realtor, we're happy to show you. And if you're not approved for a home, we're happy to connect you with a lender. They can talk to you in minutes and get you approved, or get you started on the path to approve you in minutes. So it isn't really some bad. You're not running a Spartan course then to get a loan, and you're just making a couple calls and putting a couple pieces of information online. So especially in COVID, we're saying that don't just go to look because you're bored and the bars aren't open inside.
Right.
That's one thing. Who's got
the
something
weather's
else?
nice at least. So
yeah,
we can hang out outside now.
We should talk about the benefits of using local lenders, not like local, like state of Minnesota lenders, I guess.
Yeah.
Stacy ran into that last month a couple times, I believe. We ran into it
A few times, a couple
getting
times.
on
Yeah,
our hands
absolutely.
over the thing of all the years that we've been in business, which we talked about a couple of years ago, we ran into a lot. And we will have a local lender on here in a couple of minutes, but what was your experience last month? A couple times did you have where it was like an online lender and had to go to a local lender, or was it like what happened?
So one experience was I guess a couple of them were online lenders where it was maybe it was USAA if I remember correct, or Quicken I've worked with as well, where they're great. And don't get me wrong, they can approve you right away online without digging into your assets, your debt, your income. And they'll say more likely that you are approved higher than you actually can afford. And one of the instances is we were going along right away with the process of purchasing a home. And all of a sudden there was a hiccup in the loan paperwork. And the lender on one of them claimed they forgot to check a box. Well, that's a big box to forget to check. So they told my clients they were approved for like almost 300 when actually they should have been approved for like 150. So that was a big one. And unfortunately, we were in the middle of a transaction, so we had to cancel it. So not only did my buyers lose out, those sellers also lost a client as well. But there was a couple of positive incidents that happened last month as well, that one was a local lender that it just wasn't working. It was a credit union, and I have nothing against credit unions, but it just wasn't working with that buyer and that credit union. I switched them to one of our local lenders, and they were able to get it to close. We did close a couple weeks late, but everyone was really understanding, and it did get to close, and she was able to help them out. And then that happened on another one where it was an online lender, and there was just some miscommunication in that loan application, but was able to switch it over to a local lender, and they were able to get it to close. That's what's great about local lenders is I tell my clients, if I need to go into their office and have a stern conversation with them, that's a lot easier to do instead of going through 12 different extensions to be able to talk to one person to get an answer when they tell you, it's, you know what, actually, Sarah over there has that file now. I'll transfer you to them. And then they're like, oh, wait, I don't have that file anymore. That went to the underwriting team. And then it's just a lot of back and forth. But I've had some positive outcomes, though.
Hey, Stacy, Steve Dillner is ready to come on in a minute.
All right,
give you about 10,
Steve.
15 seconds. We'll get one of our local lenders that we work with a lot, and he pinch hit kind of in similar scenarios on a couple recent transactions for me where we replaced lenders with Steve because he's really smart, knowledgeable. He's been doing it a long time. So get your lender financing mortgage questions ready, and let's welcome Steve Dillner to the show.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
How's it going?
Steve, I like the headset you had on when you were getting ready for that. I thought that looked cool.
I have the
headset. Have it on. You look more official with a headset, especially that one.
I can just put it on if you want. I was trying to get connected on my phone and it wasn't quite working right, so I decided to flip over to my laptop here.
Sounds good. So welcome to the show. We've been doing these in the evenings, and I think you have like worship band on Tuesday night, so we switched it all around just so we could have you on the show to have it 11 a.m.
Yes.
Wow, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And because we didn't want to do this at night anymore, or because we're showing properties at night.
Yeah, it's good to be busy, right?
Yeah. So Steve,
absolutely.
I know 2020 for real estate's been a little, spotty for some people because of COVID, but the rates have been really low. So I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, lending with refinancing and purchases, it's probably busy as ever. So can you get us up to speed on what's going on with lending right now?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, it's been an up and down year. It's been a really good year in the lending world. Like you said, rates are low. COVID-19, we weren't sure how that was going to affect things, and I guess if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but we really haven't seen a huge slowdown because of it, at least in this market. So, but yeah, lending has been interesting. It's been a good year. Seen a lot of people with low rates. They've been refinancing their homes. Buyers I think are really happy with the rates as low as they are. With good credit, you're going to be down on a 30-year rate. You're going to be down, in the low 3s or high 2s, depending on what, program you go with. So that's really encouraged people to stay in the market and still buy homes. And it's also helped people, maybe they were looking a year ago and, the rates were higher then and they're looking to buy now and their payments are lower compared to what they were looking at last year. So that's really helped a lot. So
what changes haven't helped, even if they're short term, disappeared and now it's back to normal? What were a couple of road bumps?
Well, kind of one of the things that went into effect here a couple months ago was minimum credit scores actually went higher. So we used to be able to look at maybe a 580 credit score for max financing on FHA. And max financing on an FHA loan is 3.5% down. So, if you're coming in, 2.5 months ago with a 580 credit score, sure, we could do a 3.5% down payment. Now that's bumped up to 640 for us. Okay, so that's one change that's negatively impacted the lending world. Now there still are a couple lenders out there that I think are doing lower credit scores, but they have quite a few overlays. You have to have a lot of reserves, money in the bank for reserves. They're a lot stricter. Interest rates are much higher on those loans too. So I think that'll normalize in the coming months. I think we'll get back to maybe a 600 or 580 credit score for government loans. But that's one of those things that I guess, it's kind of negatively impacted lending right now. But there are a few other things too that have kind of popped up, because of what's happening. There's a lot of people that are taking temporary leaves, furloughs, they're getting laid off. And one of the things that's different now is we have to, within 3 days of closing, we have to verify employment again. So, we early on in the process, we'll do a verbal and a written verification of employment, maybe, just a week or two into the process. But, if you're 1, 2, 3 days away from closing, we're going to call and make sure that you still have a job. And that's one thing that I think across the board, all lenders are doing that, just to make sure, if you're going along and I think, Michelle, you and I have had that situation where, we had a client that was sure she worked in an entertainment industry and, she does marketing and, really certain that she wasn't going to get furloughed or lose her job. And then, right before closing, we had something happen. We were still able to close it, but we had to scramble, to change.
That's because Steve was doing it.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Steve saved it.
He was able for sure.
It was a team effort there. It was definitely something where, I called her probably every 2 or 3 days. It got to the point where she's like, no, my job is secure. I'm fine. Everything's good. But she was surprised too that she had to take a pay cut. So those things happen, and that's the reality that we have right now in the lending world. Where hey, we gotta kind of be flexible and roll with the punches. And if something happens like that, we just we have to deal with it.
Right. I have a question on my watch party. What is a recommended debt to income ratio for mortgages to be comfortable with monthly payments?
That's a great question. We usually look at a 45% debt ratio or lower. Some programs like USDA, you might only get an approval at a 41 or 43%. But I look at that on a case-by-case basis. We can actually go up to like a 55.9, I think, debt ratio on some loan programs, which is really high. But we do approve people in that situation, and here's why. If somebody's been at a job for maybe a year and it's heavily commissioned in the last 6 months, we can use a base income, but we may not be able to use all of the commission. So on the base income, they might be at a 50 or a 55 debt ratio, but really there's all this other income we're not including. We do that with a spouse too. Sometimes we got a husband and a wife, and a lot of times it's the wives that have the higher credit scores. I don't know why that is, but I have a wife that's got a 780 and a husband that's got a 640. So we got somebody coming in with very different credit scores. We'll say, hey, we can do the loan in both your names, or we might be able to get you a quarter to a half a point lower interest rate if we just do it in the wife's name. So now we're only qualifying you on half the income. Debt ratio is higher, but I know the family income's higher, so you can support the payment. So.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I have a question on investment properties. as you know, I've got a couple rentals, would like to do some more with the market being high. I'm like, gosh, I want to wait till the market's lower. Then I just decided the market probably won't drop to like 2032 a whole lot, maybe little dips here and there that you can get somebody, or maybe opportunities out there. And I'm not saying 2032 is a solid date. It just seems like because of our, inventory shortage that's really ongoing. There's like 1 million plus house shortage in the United States, or roof shortage in the United States alone, because I think the rates will stay low due to the economy for a while. It's like, gosh, I probably got to find some creative ways to buy some properties for somebody looking to do an investment property. And I know you've got some of my documentation if I decide to do something, whatever it is. Down payment wise, what are we looking at for just in general, the general audience, and maybe a little bit info on investment properties, because there's ways to make investment properties work right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some great ways to make rental properties work. 20% down is kind of the general rule for investment property financing. So you're going to see interest rates that are going to be maybe 0.5% higher than the going rate that you see online for 30-year fixed. So if you can do 25% down payment, you're actually going to qualify for a much lower interest rate. So, if somebody's got 20%, I'm always encouraging them to, hey, if you can put a little more money down, you're going to have a lot better cash flow on that property. And then just finding the right properties, and that's where you guys come in and can help out. But there's the right property and maybe the wrong property. And the big thing I look at is property taxes. If you're going to buy a property for $250,000, you have, $2,500 in property taxes or $5,000 in property taxes. That can make a big difference in your cash flow. So typically, 20% down. Now, I have had instances where, parents want to buy an investment property where their kids go to college. So we worked with a couple years ago, and they said, hey, our son's going to the U of M. We want to buy an investment property, and he's going to live there, and we might rent it to some friends. Well, they were going to put 20% down, and we opted to go FHA. So the son actually bought the house. He didn't have a job, but he was going to school. He had decent credit. So the son bought the property. The parents were non-occupying co-borrowers, and that way they could buy a property with a lot lower down payment and a lot lower rate.
So Michelle should be doing this with kids going to college soon.
I thought about it, but
Yes.
I was just thinking that too.
Yeah. Is that the same for, like, if I was going to go buy a lake home, is that the same as an interest rate? So that'd be like my second home. Is the interest rate a little bit higher even if you put 20% down?
Interest rates are the same on lake homes as primary residence. So you have to put a minimum of 10% down for a second home.
Okay.
But the mortgage insurance might be a little more expensive mortgage insurance than owner occupied, but the interest rate is going to be the same for you on a second home.
Yeah. Somebody at my watch party said they were just going to ask a question about buying a home for a college student. So you must have already answered it.
There you go.
Good
Yep.
job.
And Michelle
Nice.
would
Perfect.
probably like to help you buy that home, and Steve will finance it right there. There you go.
There you go.
Thank you for watching.
Nice.
Keep the questions coming. Yeah. So
Yeah.
quick reminder, if you're tuning in, Steve, maybe on your page, I did tag you. Maybe you have a great following and people are asking questions on your page. So you could always peek at that, but have the volume down. Michelle did it twice with the volume up already. We don't want to distract you. This is your first time probably live, or do you do shows every week, Steve?
So I actually did a first-time homebuyer seminar about a week ago. And I did that where there was like two or three other people on that one. But no, I haven't done a live. I mean, that was a live event as well, but I haven't done this format before. So this is really, really cool.
Yeah. So definitely ask questions. I always remind people we got the ticker running below that we'll draw for a gift card. All you have to do is like it, make some questions or comments. It sounds like doing the 11 a.m. show, we normally have like 50 comments. Of course, part of that is I had trivia in the past. I forgot to do trivia this week, or maybe decided not to. That gets us a lot of comments. But ask a question on financing or on the real estate marketer side of things. Go ahead, Michelle.
That's a good question. Do you finance anything out of state, or are you just in Minnesota, Steve?
I personally just do Minnesota, but my company's licensed in all 50 states. So I'm with Supreme Lending. So we, if you have somebody who lives in Minnesota, they're buying a place in Florida, we can help them. We can find somebody to help them, help them out. But I will be licensed later this year. I'll be licensed in Wisconsin because I do get a lot of requests for Wisconsin, but I just have to go through the paperwork to get the license.
Yeah, well, if it helps you to get your license in Wisconsin, then sure, just get it.
There we
It
go.
doesn't help us. We just refer it out because it's like once a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. No more questions on my end. Go ahead, somebody.
So have you guys covered
I
forbearance
haven't
at
had any
all?
questions pop up.
We haven't talked about forbearance for a little bit, but yes, it'd be good to recap. That's one of the COVID-19 things. Recap your take or what you're seeing on forbearance, good or bad, or what to watch for.
Yeah. So when the whole idea of forbearance came out here, a couple of months ago, we were being told that forbearance wouldn't have any impact on your credit. It wouldn't affect anything. So people jumped on it right away. Everyone called their lenders and they requested forbearances. Now, what we're finding out is it still shows up in your credit. It'll still say, something to the effect of forbearance on your credit as a comment. And I've actually had a couple of clients where this has happened to. I had one client, he simply called his lender and he said, hey, what's up with this forbearance thing that I'm hearing about? He just inquired about it, didn't fill out any paperwork, didn't say he wanted to do it. And then he was trying to get a line of credit last week at a bank. And they said, oh, wait a minute, we can't help you. You have your loans in forbearance. He said, no, it's not. So he had to fix that. So what we're finding is lenders are automatically, is if you just call and inquire about it, a lot of them are just putting you into forbearance automatically.
Oh my goodness.
So are they doing that to screw you over? Or are they doing that for like streamlining? They thought they were streamlining things or something. I mean, it seems a little underhanded to do that. And I wouldn't put it past some lenders who are either not well trained, not lenders like Steve Dillner lenders, but the actual the actual managers of accounts of your money once Steve gets done with the loan and it goes to somebody else and never land.
I get the feeling from talking to some of these lender reps that I know that work for big servicing companies like Freedom Mortgage, for example. I was talking to the lender rep last week. She's on the sales side, but she said they're so overwhelmed with people calling in about forbearance that I think it's like the hot potato where they get the phone call and as soon as somebody says forbearance, they click in the system forbearance and they're on to the next call. So they're not really doing the due diligence they should. Because some people just generally want information on it, and others really want to be in forbearance. So the thing that we've done as a company is if you're in forbearance right now and you're missing payments and all that, you have to be out of forbearance for, I believe, 6 months. And it's kind of changing. It used to be 12 months. Now it's 6 months before we can refinance you or get you another loan. So if you're going to go buy that home and you're primary mortgages and forbearance, we're not going to approve you for that late home because you're obviously in a financial hardship. You can't make the payment on your primary home.
Stacy disappeared, so
her dogs were fighting in the background.
Her dogs are
fighting. What was that breathing noise?
That's funny. No, thanks, Steve. What I wanted to follow up on that. So I think it was last week or the week before I talked about how refinancing helps create inventory shortage because some people who might have bought decided to refinance. They're going to stay in that loan and rate and that house for longer. Now, my hearing you with this, anybody who tried for forbearance also helps cause inventory shortage because now most lenders like you're saying are going to say, well, you're not going to move for 6 months. Yeah, you could sell your house, but then you'd have to go rent or you got to wait several months to move, which then typically doesn't push them out 6 months to November. That pushes them next year to the spring because a lot of people don't want to move November, December. Yeah. So that causes a whole shortage of inventory for a long time. And then who knows at that point what they decide to do if they're pushed out of the market another few months or a year.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, they're pushing things out. It's causing more inventory issues. I'm hoping they get that issue corrected where you're not required to wait so long because some people truly are going into forbearance just for the what if, like what if I lose my job in a month or what if my renters don't pay or what if, all these future situations that haven't happened yet. So they're requesting forbearance, but they keep making their payments. You know what I mean? They just want the ability to not make their payments and not have it negatively affect the credit. So,
and so one we work a little bit. We'd like to work more with a company called Home Partners who can do rent with purchase options. You're renting it, but you have the right to purchase. There's a few other companies like that. I see those being actually more prevalent coming up because people maybe do want to sell, maybe do see a house, or maybe they don't own a house. Like, I want to get into getting in a house I want. So one of the things that's bouncing around in my head, going back to the investor question, is like, I'm running into these people all the time. I probably should try to help some of these people. For a few houses, I'm not a big nationwide company raising funds, but for a few houses, that might be a way to get an investment. So for somebody out there listening, like, how do I get into maybe a safer way of investing? That would be one reason to reach out to us, because I have inquiries all the time on rent to own, and some of the people are actually legitimate, good options to buy a house, and the rent to owns have structured basically markups from when you buy it. So it basically advances the price up with appreciation, but the buyers or the renters are happy to do it because they're paying an arm and a leg for rent already. And now they get to be in a home they have a goal of buying in a few years. So I was just going to throw that in with all this stuff going on, even with the forbearance, it actually increases the odds that that's a good way to get into investment real estate. So if you've never thought of that, or like, how do I get into it? That's one way now that we'd help you with. I want to throw that out there based on the conversation. Yeah,
it's a great idea, and the rent to own is such a good way to kind of get in the door on an investment property. And the best thing I love about rent to owns is, as an investor, you write the contract and you write the lease agreement where all the repairs are done by the tenant, because they are going to have more of an ownership feeling in the house because they want to buy the house, right? They don't feel like renters, they feel like owners. So they're going to take better care of the house in general. They're going to fix everything. So you're not going to have the typical landlord issues that you would if you were just, renting out a duplex or something like that.
Yeah, that's good. So we're not going to end the show yet, Steve, but we'll let you do your final comments, and then we'll move on to our segment with our team here to wrap it up. So any final thoughts that maybe we didn't ask you or cover that you had in mind or noted that you would like to talk about if they came up that you can share with us lending wise? Michelle's got a question.
Yeah, Michelle.
I have one more question on my watch party. Does being a mobile home owner with no mortgage balance disqualify me as a first-time home buyer loan?
It depends. So a mobile home, if it's affixed to the ground, it's considered real property, and the title has to be surrendered to the state. If it's in a park and you're leasing the land, the spot, then that would not disqualify you from first-time home buyer. So, and a first-time home buyer, we look at, you haven't owned real property in the last 3 years. That's the definition of a first-time home buyer. So, but that's
meaning you could have owned a home 10 years ago, got foreclosed or moved on, and didn't want to buy for a while, and you can now be a first-time home buyer again.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Go ahead with your final thoughts.
Yeah. Well, final thoughts. Hey, the real estate market is still really good. It's a good time to buy. And, if you compare rent rates to what you could get for a mortgage payment on an average price house, I'd say 9 times out of 10 in every market, your mortgage payment is going to be lower than what your rent is going to be. And keep in mind, rent rates go up every year, typically 3%. So it's a good time to buy. Interest rates are still really low. Lending guidelines, they're a little bit tighter right now with COVID, but I think they're going to be loosening up. So I'm excited to be doing this, and I think the real estate market's going to be really strong this year.
Awesome, Steve. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for helping us out all the years. I've been working with Steve for 15 years, so we'll say bye to Steve.
Thanks,
and
guys.
Still watch and
Steve.
Yep, thanks. So I met Steve when I first started with RE/MAX years and years ago, back in 2005. So we've been working together forever. So, and who's aged better now that he's off air, me or him? Anybody? I'm totally teasing. I'm totally teasing. That's me and my
comment.
Michelle can answer that because it's your sister.
I just said I couldn't see him because he's like with this beard thing going on. So he was like dark, like when Stacy was dark when we started. And Stacy's dog
first learning.
All against Stacy.
So in the
I was like,
evenings,
oh, no.
it's all good. In the evenings, we've been going about an hour. We're going to have this wrapped up in about the 40-minute mark. So it's the last few minutes for comments, questions. If you have anything, I mean, Michelle had a couple of questions. I've only got a couple of hellos on my watch party. Stacy, are you putting yourself out there? Do you even start watch parties?
I don't even know what watch party is.
Oh, Lord.
Do you know how to share on Facebook or stream?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I did not do that. I was working all morning. I wasn't on Facebook.
That's totally fine, Stacey. You could share the replay. Share the replay, and
I will. I usually do that.
Yes, it's all good.
You'll have to teach me how to do the watch party before the next one. Maybe my kid can teach me. I don't know.
And it's kind of tricky. I think you have to wait till it starts, then it allows you to do a watch party, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
What I was going to say as well, last week, so this week, if you share it, so somebody out there who isn't Chuck, Michelle, Stacy, or Steve can also share this, and that's one way to get entered in the drawing for gift cards. I was going to quick show find the camera, Average Sucks book. I gave a couple of these away last week. I just got them in the mail, so I'm going to send these out, and I'm going to start digging into this one this week. And does anybody know if his Kindle's still for 99 cents?
It is not. It's $5.99 or $8.99 now. It was literally only last week. Now it's expensive.
So you missed the 99 cents.
Yeah,
but,
missed it, guys.
Missed it, but oh well. So we've been working with Michael for a long time, so that's why I promote that. And those people who are waiting for those books, I just got them in the mail, so I'll send them out, and you'll get those, whenever the mail gets them to you, I guess. And as far as giveaways, I know a lot of people watch for giveaways a lot. That's good. People must be working here because we have had low viewership, which we knew when we do this, but we always, if you have comments, questions, or questions that are personal you want to ask of us, you can always message us directly, connect with us on Facebook. If somebody shares this and you're seeing this now, you can be our friends, fans, or followers on Facebook. And when we started, before we brought in Steve, we had a couple shares about what maybe not to do, or some feedback, or advising on what's happening that people do that there's a different way of doing it, a better way of doing it to help people. So any other things pop to mind, Michelle or Stacy, that we're running into that you'd like to share about? Well, this is something some people, or a decent amount of people, think real estate works this way, but here's some things you should know that would help better sell or buy, or whatever the situation is.
Oh, so, I just want to bring this up too. We do help renters too. I just did a live at a rental, not a live. I did actually, not friends with Facebook, on somebody from out of state, and I videoed through Messenger, and signing up for the lease. So we do help with renters. Nice. We can totally video it for you. And I know Stacy just helped the client buy through video as well, right?
Yep. We've done a number of FaceTime showings. I think 4 or 5. 6, I don't know, but we're under contract now. So, I just book them as agent previews and go out there and do a video FaceTime. And one of the homes we looked at on Monday actually was in multiple offers already. And so the other agent was like, well, can you get your buyers through? And I said, if they like the home, they will write without physically seeing the house. And we did write we got beat out on that home as well, but they're under contract and in a signed purchase agreement on another home that we looked at via FaceTime. So technology is great. So if you're stuck at home with either sick kids, or you don't want to go out into the COVID world, there's definitely ways that we can show you homes without physically being together.
And I think there's a lot of people that are they're in a house, and they're looking to upgrade the property, maybe more land, maybe bigger property, and they're scared to list without finding something they like. And then if they're not able to get a mortgage on the other one without selling, which some people can, but a lot of people can't, they are faced with, well, I can't list my home unless I find something. But however, if you find something in this crazy fast selling market, if you're contingent on selling, you're very unlikely to get the home unless it's been on the market for a little while, or it's an extremely elevated price point, which there are normally more contingent offers. So one piece of advice that a few people know, and a lot of agents advise people on, is you can list your home contingent on securing a property of your choice. And I think Michelle did one where her seller did that, and it took a while to get the seller to find something, but the buyer hung in there and got through some hurdles on their end, and they closed. So tell us just an example of how that worked, or how similar sales like that could work. So somebody hesitant, hurting the inventory problem by not putting their home out there, but I understand they don't want to be homeless. How can that work, and give them the example, Michelle?
Well, with mine, I just had a seller that did that. I think we signed the contract in November. They really wanted to find something before they sold, and I said, let's just put it on the market. So I think we put it on in end of February. I had multiple offers in 2 days, whatever. But she got up to 60 days to find a house. Well, then COVID happened. She still found a house within 60 days. We ended up closing last week, and she was in a predicament where she needed a specific buyer where they would give her like a week to move out. We found a buyer that would give her a week to move out. It all worked out. She closed at the end of May. That's what she was aiming for, somewhere around this time as well. But I mean, there are flexible sellers and buyers out there if you find the right property. So I think a lot of times people don't understand that. Like Chuck was saying, like, we can definitely put your home for sale. People can write a contract. You have 30 days to find a home. During that time, could they technically go find somebody else and back out on you? I mean, technically, but if you're pretty good at communicating with them, they usually won't do that. They just want you to try to find a house as soon as possible so they can get into your house. And honestly, if a buyer really loves your house, they're not going anywhere. So,
and also, like Stacey said, she ran into multiple offers basically almost on every listing she wrote on this weekend. And I ran into multiple offers on a buyer already this past few days. If you're a buyer buying that one and can be a little bit flexible, you have a better chance of winning it, because I think less buyers actually write on those, because they're like, oh, I got to get my house now. But if you're like, well, I got to get my house, 60 days, and that works, it's another way for a buyer, a positive for a buyer. They might actually win that one in a more, I guess, relaxed way of doing it than, multiple offers again. What do I got to go up on this one? And to piggyback multiple offers, what's happening on multiple offers is, if you're a seller, think you own a property. And let's say it's a starter home price in most areas in Minnesota that are close enough to the cities. That's $225,000, let's just say. And the seller gets a cash offer with, that's close or at asking price, gets a conventional loan offer with 20% down, not asking for closing costs. Or if you're a USDA loan, VA loan, or FHA loan, and now you need 3+% closing costs, and you're going up against a cash buyer or a conventional buyer who maybe isn't asking for closing costs, it's impossible to win that house if you're FHA, USDA, VA, if there's a conventional or a cash buyer out there. And I think a lot of people don't know that, and they get frustrated as FHA buyers, VA buyers, and USDA buyers. What can one of you say to that, and maybe A, help encourage them, but B, help them understand what might make sense to get a house going forward? Because we have had a lot of people with those loans get a house. So it's not impossible to get a house, but you're going to get beat out against those offers. So what's your take on those? Stacey and Michelle can share something. You got something, Stacey?
I can't think of like something specific off the top of my head, but I mean, it happens to me in a couple of cases. I mean, I have a buyer that can go either USDA or FHA. So, I mean, that is one positive thing for him being able to buy. He just wants to be able to take advantage of some of the USDA or the rural development, benefits that they do offer. So, I mean, I guess I just encourage my clients not to get frustrated. I mean, I know it is frustrating, and unfortunately, it's easy to fall in love with a house that you like right away, but you can't fall in love till all the lines are signed and dotted. I mean, so I guess I just kind of encourage them, like, let's do whatever we can. If we can roll some of closing costs into your loan, let's roll closing costs into your loan, but not overprice the house so that it doesn't appraise when it comes to it. But I mean, it's all case by case, and it kind of depends on how quickly you can get in there and get an offer in too. Sometimes sellers don't want to wait around and they'll just take it. So you kind of got to hope for the best.
Yeah, one advice I would give, especially as we go farther in the outlying areas where work, it is easier to get the home. And I would say you quickly make a very good offer if you're at USDA or FHA. You right now, currently, unless we think the house is overpriced, we're not going to say, hey, overpay by $20,000. If we think it's a good price, quickly, probably offer a little bit more than you think you should. That's your best bet at getting it.
Also, I mean, there are buyers that have to close on a certain time. And what I've seen is, and actually what I heard today too as well from one of my clients is people are offering before it even goes, like the coming soon ones offering before it even goes on the market and it's selling.
Sight unseen, because they're not supposed to be showing.
I was gonna say that they can still accept offers if it's coming soon.
They can accept offers, but they can't allow showings. If you make a great offer, they can accept it, and that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even if it's not coming soon, some people just want the right to offer and then, you know, put an inspection in and hope to gosh they like it. And if they actually get one on those people that are hard to get to buy, I mean, there's pretty much going with what they get. So.
And I'm not so sure they're going with what they get. I would imagine they're getting something they like and tweak it to make it like it even better, so that it makes 100% sense just to work with that aggressive buyer.
Mm-hmm.
No, what I'm saying is I've had a buyer make sight unseen offers and they wasn't the 100% liking of the house when they got it, but they also realized that they probably weren't going to get anything else because they're in, you know, one of those situations where FHA, VA, USDA, and harder to get a house. Wasn't 100% what they liked because never saw it, but once they now they're in it and they're fine, everything like that. They weren't against it. It's just some people think they have to see it and have to fall in love with it. In some situations, if you're a first-time home buyer, you might not be there for years and years and years, and you'd rather just pay less and get the house and be done. And
yeah, the point would be you'd rather have that $1,200 mortgage payment instead of that $1,600 rent payment, like Steve said earlier. Mm-hmm. And that's why somebody will be like, I don't love this house, but I'll get started in home ownership. And there's many of scenarios like that. So we're going to wrap it up. We'll give maybe 1 minute. We'll look at your comments, see if you have any more comments. And we know this time of day, that means A, less people probably watch, which is fine. We knew that going in. B, people must like the trivia. I got to come up with trivia questions. And C, they must not like Applebee's. So Applebee's, you're going to have to do something different because we don't have that many people that shared it or liked it or commented today, which is fine. I think it's an 11 a.m. thing. But this was a good, relaxing time for me to do it. I think as far as the 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights, I started to get a little bit like I should be doing something else. But right now, it's like, this is perfect. So again, for those who watched, checked in, said hi, or commented, thank you for joining. Those who hung out in the background to see what we do, that's fine too. We always welcome your questions later off air or down the road when they pop up and we come to mind. So Michelle and Stacy, any final comments, or would you like to just kiss everybody goodbye?
Mm-hmm. I actually have 8 viewers most of the time, so I don't know.
Wow.
Where all your people are.
That's nice.
My
people be sleeping.
6 viewers. you're better than me, I guess.
Nice. Way to go, guys. I'll have to get on that watch party and then we can have a competition.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, have a great week, everyone. If you need to see a house, that's what we're here for. So,
yep, enjoy the weather too. It's supposed to be beautiful all week.
All right, and if you just checked in at the end, the replay is available on our streams, on our pages. Real Life Impact Podcast. You can listen to the replay anytime. You download through like Apple Podcasts when you're on the road and want to listen to us, or you can share the replay as well. So we like shares. And if you share it before Esther does the review of comments and questions, you'll get credit to be in the drawing. So if you quickly share it now, you'll still be in the credit. You have good odds of winning by the statistics I see now. So, all right, with that, we're going to wrap it up. Have a blessed day, everybody. And thanks a lot.
See ya.